What's up, guys? Quasi Media, Quasi for Quasi Media, Quasi Animations. Today we're talking about a subject that is, I would say, controversial to a lot of people. Shading. If you're using a Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 character, they have a metal shader on them, a metallic shader. That's how they get their anime style in the game. All right, but there's an issue here. When you load it into the game, it comes in purple, or like this loud purple, because the files are missing. That's how blenders show you that files are missing. The problem is the files that do come in the game, I've deleted all of them. So when you look at the screen, they're not there. I deleted them all because I'm going to show you what I do to actually shade the characters in an anime style. So we're going to go step by step, and I'm going to tell you what I'm using. And if you want to run the video back and forth or whatever, that's fine. But I want you to understand something with everything in you, that I am doing generic. I'm not putting in any sort of, like, there's a patch on him. I'm not putting the patch on him. Okay, so it's going to be shaded the same color as his uniform. We know this is Krillin. We know Krillin's uniform is orange. So I'm going to show you how I go about doing this. So let's go. Now, since there's a metal shader on it, I'm picking his skin, his face. So we're going to do his skin first. There's a metal shader on it. You see it says metallic. I'm going to get rid of that. And you see how his face started to glow? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide over to the side. Again, you can middle mouse button in here the same way you can in here. All right. So I'm going to middle mouse button this over to the side. I'm going to hit Shift A, S to search. Okay. And I'm going to type in COL and go to color ramp. All right. I'm going to take that color ramp and I'm going to hit Shift D, and I'm going to duplicate that color ramp. I'm going to do the same thing again, Shift A, S for search. And I'm going to type in layer for layer weight. Shift A, S for search. Excuse me, and put in shader. I'm going to go to shader to RGB. Okay. Then we're going to go Shift A, S. We're going to go in mix, and we're going to put in a mix shader. Shift A, S. We're going to go mix RGB. Okay, so you want to mix RGB. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to connect the shader to RGB to the factor, or the factor of the bottom ramp, the color of the bottom color ramp to the factor of the mix RGB. We're going to take the Fresnel, or Fresnel, it looks like Fresnel, but they call it Fresnel, of the layer weight to the factor, and the color of the top ramp to the factor of the mix shader. Now, the color of the mix RGB is going to go into the top shader of the mix shader. I'm going to select all of them, box select them all, or you can pick them out one at a time if you want to by holding Shift. I don't recommend it. Just left click and drag. You're going to hit Control G. That's going to turn it into a group. Okay, so you're going to make a group. Now, on the end of that group is a group input and a group output. You have to use these, meaning take your shader output from your shader to RGB and go into that and click it into that. And then from your mix shader output into the output of the output group and hit tab. If you want to go back in that group, click the group, hit tab again, and it'll open it up and you can change whatever settings you want to change. So we're going to go in and we're going to hit tab again. We're going to hit this shield here, which makes a fake user, so you can use it in more than one time. And then we're going to name the group, and I'm just going to name it Krillin Shader. Did I spell it right? Nope, I did not. Krillin Shader. All right. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. And we're going to move this shader over. Excuse me, I'm going to move it to here. Now, I'm going to slide this over. Now, we want his skin color. So, on the principal BSDF, because understand I'm in the shading tab. If you have a bunch of tabs at the top, just go to shading. Okay, don't worry about it. I just fixed mine a different way. So go to the shading tab at the top of your Blender menu and go into it, and it's going to give you this. It's going to be a panel on the side. I took the panel out, so it's not going to look like mine. Don't trip out. Okay, so the shader is set up that we want to use so we can make the anime shader. This is your anime shader. What we just did in the control tab, the tab to make this shader is your anime shader. Okay, so in the base color, we're going to click it, and I'm going to find a default color. So let's say right about there, and I'll make it a little bit darker. So it's going to be a default color. we're gonna go back into our shader, we're gonna click it, we're gonna tab. Then we're gonna come down here to your mix, and at the top color, you want the top color to be your darkest color. So I'm gonna click up here and I'm gonna see how much dark it is because I picked a darker spot. And I want it to be that way, but I'm gonna make it a little bit darker because we want it to be an anime shader, right? So now we're gonna click the lighter color, right? So it's lighter. And I'm just gonna push it a little bit harder. And then this middle click down. This right here, this shader here, where it says 0.5, okay? We're gonna leave it there. I want you to click the white side, or you can do this here where you see 0, go to 1. All right, just click it there. That's the way I usually do it, but I just click it and then do it, okay? So here we're gonna take this out and we're gonna push it down, okay? We're gonna click this one up and we're gonna push it up. We're gonna get them close as possible. Here, hit shift where the numbers are and then scroll over with your button, okay? It's a reason for that because it's gonna be your outline. Now, we haven't attached this to this yet. We're gonna just take this and drag it over that line. See how they lit up? And we're gonna release it. Now it's attached. Now I want you to understand something. The shader is not working yet, but watch. Now, this bottom color ramp, we're gonna literally take this and pull this up. And see how much brighter he's getting? All right, but you start to see some of that in there, right? So I'm gonna pull up the dark side, get kind of dark as we can, and then we're gonna go back and we're gonna find that spacing that we want. All right, so we find the spacing that we want. So we want Curlin to have a certain depth about him. All right, there we go. All right, I think that's good. Now, anytime you use your shader, what you want to make sure of is that your main color is close to your base color. All right. So now when you look at his head, you see how that black outline follows. Now, if you want the outline to be a little thinner, you can always come over here and just go down. But I just keep it at 0.5 because I want that thickness. You see that? All right. Now, this is the deal. This is where it gets funny. If you haven't saved your project, save it now. This is where it gets funny. This is his body, right? Okay. And his hands, they have the same color. Well, you might think, well, I gotta do it for multiple shaders. You do not. I have his hands selected, right? So let's select his hands, shift select his body, and shift select his head. Listen carefully, hit Control L. This make links menu is gonna pop up and you wanna go to materials. And now the whole body is shaded. And now I don't have to do this now. So when I go to that, it's all of now. You see this number here says 3 on skin face. It's the exact same shader. Now, if you want the shader darker, let me show you another thing. Click your base color and drag this actual slider down, or you can use your middle mouse button and scroll down and it'll make it darker. Okay. So what I tend to do is make it a little darker here, come in here and finesse this up to being brighter. So now once it's, see, and I'm finding that space and I'll click it, and I like to use the numbers. It's so much easier to use those with the shift pressed. All right, so there we go. We have our Krillin ready to rock, right? All right, so that's done. Now we want his eyebrows to be done because he has no hair. Now I'm gonna show you another trick. Now you just made this shader, right? Understand, you might have named that shader whatever you wanted to name it. Hit Shift A S and type in the shader that you made it. For me, it's Krillin. There it is. I hit it, boom, it's already there. Now, understand, we're using a different color and this shader is metallic. We don't want that. So make sure you take that metallic off if you're using a Xenoverse 2 character. That's why I'm bringing it up. So now, this has a user on it and it says 2 of them are using it. Okay, 2 things are using this actual shader. We do not want to use the same shader because let me show you something. You just brought it in here, right? But it still has the skin tone on it. We don't want that. So what you want to do is you want to come over here. We're going to go to our base on our principal BSDF and we're going to go to black. I'm just going to scroll down. I'm going to go to the not all complete black. We don't want that. We want it almost black, like right about there. And we're going to come in here and on the top color, I'm going to click it and go to this color picker. Okay, this eyedropper, and I'm gonna go ahead and click that color. All right, and you see how I did that? Because now I changed my shader, Control Z. All right, you wanna hit this, because I made a mistake, so I'm playing it off, but hit this button and make it a single user. Listen carefully. If you see a number next to your stuff, hit the number, and now we can go in there, and when I hit the dropper this time, it won't do that. It'll just give me the color for this. And we know that we want this bottom one to be the brightest, so we're gonna go up and go kind of to a grayish color. And we're gonna drop it. Now, I'm gonna make something clear. This is not going to look like what you think it's gonna look like, because these colors are a lot more defined. So this one's a little bit more difficult to play with. So if it's like when you got dark colors like that, because the thing is you really just want that outline. All right, so now that is part of the eyebrows. We're gonna, remember we clicked last time, we clicked the thing that doesn't have color and then shift click the other one, Control L, materials. Now it has the material for that on there and it has that set. Okay, his little dots have a default color on them. That's white. We know that they're white, but I'm gonna bring it down some to like a darker color. Shift AS, we're gonna go back into our shader. We'll go back into the shader. I'm going to click the 2 off, come back in here, and I'm going to literally just make this white. Just come up to this here, we're going to make it white, right? Okay, but we'll make it a little bit darker. And then here, I drop that, go all the way up, drop it. They'll make a difference because we just want the outline. That's what we want because it's white. All right, so that's done, right? Now, you ready for the next part? All righty then, let's go to the close. Remember, this metallic shade is on, we're gonna take it off. See the difference, how that shined out? All right, so we know this is orange. So we're gonna pick the orange color somewhere right about there. Make it a little bit darker because we're gonna bring in the anime shader. We're gonna go to our shader. We're gonna click off the 2, gonna open this up, and then we're gonna pick the color, darkest color, and then we're gonna actually pick the color here because I wanna go up on it. See that? We're gonna make it max and we're gonna go into it. We'll open it up. Now you have to understand something. You have to keep refining this for everything. See how I did that? So now I'm finding my color and voila. I think that's the best one. I'm gonna click this one and I'm gonna finesse it a little bit. There we go. Click that one, finesse it a little bit. Yeah, I can deal with that. What you think? What you think? Now remember, his pants are orange too. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna click his pants. We're gonna shift click the shirt, Control L, materials. And voila, he is done right there. Now, if I remember correctly, his stuff was black. I could be wrong. We're gonna do blue. So, I'm gonna take the metallic off. Again, we're talking about Xenoverse characters. We're just gonna go to a deep blue. I'm gonna bring the shader back. Again, you're using a new one, so we're gonna click the 2 off because we're using a new one. We're gonna pick that color. We're gonna still shift pick this one. Now on this one, because the blue is a little bit darker, we're gonna go to a lighter blue and we'll drop it in there. Again, we have to finesse it because we know that these colors are so closely knit together that we have to find that space. Let's get in close. See what we got here. See what we got here. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. That's looking pretty fine to me. All right. I'm gonna click the other one. All right, so yeah. Now, his wristbands, we're gonna pick those, pick the wristbands, shift click the belt, Control L, materials. Now, that's done. See how fast that went? Okay, now you see the bottom of his pants, this is Krillin. Some of your characters might have that. Shift click that, click that, shift click the pants, Control L, materials. There you go. All right, and that's the run of it. All right, I'm gonna keep this like it is because it is white anyway. And I'll keep it that metallic color. So his socks, they're pretty much white. Guess what I'm gonna do? Yes, you're correct. I'm going to pick his dots because they're already white. And then I'm gonna shift click his socks, Control L, shift. Because again, my bad, all we want is the outline. The outline is there. That's all we want. All right, so when you click his shoes, I don't remember what color they are. I'm gonna assume that they were black. All right, so we're gonna do a different black this time, meaning in other words is, they look kind of like, I'm gonna keep the base white, boy. It's nice right there, son. All right, so let's, got that Bruce Lee vibe going. Again, hit the button to take the thing off, open it up. We're gonna go and we're gonna click that. And I'm gonna shift click. I drop the same one and then go all the way up. I'm gonna go to white, drop it on top of it, open it up. We're gonna find that space, there we go. And as you go up, it's gonna get wider and wider, but we're gonna find that, there it is. See that, there it is. Sleep on them if you want to. There we go. So now, my bad. So now there you go. So you have that set up. All right, come out of there. Now we got a different one here, and I'm going to show you, because if you don't have the eyes exported, now if you use Xenoverse 2, I'm going to make this real quick. When you use Xenoverse 2, what you want to remember is that you need to open up your main folder, and in your main folder there is a it's raining all of a sudden. There is a file in your main folder that is for your eyes. It's an EMB file. Actually extract it with the EMB pack tool. And once you extract it, it's going to have a DDS file in it for your eyes. If you have a program like Photoshop or GIMP or Paint.net, Paint.net is free, be easy to use that. Make it a PNG, and then you're going to do this. So we're going to go into the eyes, take the metallic off. We're going to left eye. All right, we're going to go, I'm sorry, I don't want to move too fast. I'm going to Control Shift S, I'm going to hit image. We're going to go to image texture. And then from the image texture, you're going to hit open. And then you're going to go to wherever your eyes are. Mine are in here. Got male. Excuse me. I'm going to use this one, that pupil, and then I'm going to click it to that, and it goes in there by default, right? Okay. Now the issue with this is mine has no whites. So what I need to do is select both of these, Shift D, hit escape so that they stay, and then I'm going to just disconnect that. All right. So for this one, I'm going to connect it. For this one, oh, for that one I'm doing, I'm going to click that and then do that. There we go. So this eye is set. I need to move it forward, I think. Oh, we'll wait. All right, so now because it has an alpha on it, see this alpha? Pull the alpha down to the alpha on the actual BDSF principal shader. Okay, let's pick these two. We're gonna pick those two, and we're gonna pull them back so that this eye will show up. All right. Now you see how the eye is not showing yet? Now click in this here, be down here, click in, go over to options, and you have a blend mode. Go into blend mode, go to alpha blend, and now you can see through the actual texture. So here we're gonna do this one, and I'm gonna give it the other white eye. For some reason that's in there. All right, and then because this eye has the same thing, I'm just gonna go back to the same one. It's the same thing. So they're identical. There's no difference between the two. I still feel like something's off though. Why it seems lighter on this side and dark on the other side? It's weird to me because it shouldn't be. But anyway. Oh, I know why. There we go. Because it was metallic steel. There we go. So Krillin is designed. There we go, guys. So you just want a particular shader and you want it to be, you know, whatever way you want it to be. If you want a color to be darker, go into the thing, make it darker if you want. Don't forget when you click this here, click your shader that you created, your group, hit tab, and then make your adjustments, how you want to make your adjustments. But that's pretty much the run of how I go about making shaders for this particular thing. Now, for the sake of it, I guess I'll show you this. So since his folder, and I have to go get it, you have to bear with me for a second, because y'all. So he has for his gear, there's a symbol for that, right? And that symbol is inside of his folder. So if I don't have that ready, I'm just not be real about, so I can't say. So what I would do is control, and I will bring that image in, and that image is not ready, but I will bring that image in from his character folder. Let's see, where is it? Here we go. And it's not in there because there's no images, right? So I would just bring that image in. So when I bring that image in, it's going to lay on top of that, but there's a way to go about it, and it deals with me actually connecting this to that, and then connecting the actual alpha to here, and then having see how it starts to get a little advanced. What you do is, for that, what I just did, you click the image texture, you hit Control T, and it'll open it up. Like for instance, if I select all these and delete it, I'll hit Control T, and it'll open that panel up. And it has this coordinate, this text coordinate on it, and it has various selections, but you only care about the UV because the UV is what this is. That's the UV right there. See it? That's the pattern that is broken down to be for that. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'll probably deal with showing you how to bring in the lines for the characters, but the downside to it is I have to go and get all of that stuff out. So I hope that helps, man. I hate that I ran it towards the end, but nonetheless, here's your Krillin. I mean, to be funny, here's your Krillin. Number love, man.